from here. So Judge Wallace.
All right. Sorry, we're just getting the oaths in order. All right, so we're going to do these one at a time. We're going to start with the most senior commissioner, Mr. Wright. If you want to stand and raise your right hand. We can do it either way, however you want to. I'll take pictures. Right. I, Gregory Wright,
I, Gregory Wright,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Olmsted County Commissioner.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Olmsted County Commissioner.
Congratulations, you're
Well,
official.
thank you very much.
So, get those signed afterwards. Okay, we'll start with Ms. Podolsky Smith next. Right. I, Laurel Podolsky Smith,
I, Laurel Podolsky Smith,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Olmsted County Commissioner.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Olmsted County Commissioner.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Rossman. Right. I, Michelle Rossman,
I, Michelle Rossman,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Olmsted County Commissioner.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Olmsted County Commissioner.
Congratulations. Okay, and I have Mr. Hopkins. Right. I, Robert Hopkins,
I, Robert Hopkins,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Olmsted County Commissioner.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Olmsted County Commissioner.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And I have one more, Mr. Heimer. Okay. All right. I, Joe Heimer,
I, Joe Himmer,
sorry, do
Close.
solemnly swear or
Do s-
affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
okay, in the State of Minnesota, County of Olmsted.
in the State of Minnesota, County of Olmsted.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, well, welcome, congratulations. You are now all officially appointed as members of the Olmsted County Board of Commissioners. So I actually even get to call our, well, actually, before I call our meeting to order, I need to make time and space for public comment. So is there anyone here that wishes to make public comment? Anyone online? I'll ask again, is there anyone here for public comment? Okay, hearing none, I will call the meeting to order and ask that we rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and that brings us to the election of officers. And at this point, I will ask for nominations. So nominations are now in order for the office of chair.
I move to nominate Mark Tyne for office of chair.
Second.
Mark Tyne has been nominated. Are there any other calls for nominations for the office of chair? Any other calls for the nominations of office of chair? If there are no further nominations, nominations for office of chair are closed. We have a motion and a second to appoint Mark Tyne as chair of the Olmsted County Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Given that Commissioner Tyne, Chair Tyne, isn't here, I will call for nominations and for the office of vice chair.
I move to nominate Dave Senjum for office of vice chair.
Second.
Dave Senjum is nominated for the office of vice chair. Are there any other nominations for the office of vice chair? Any other nominations for the office of vice chair? With no further nominations, nominations for vice chair are closed. We have a motion and a second to appoint Dave Senjum as the vice chair of the Olmsted County Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Commissioner Senjum, the meeting is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. County Administrator, and welcome all to our first organizational meeting of the year. We're going to start with a public hearing, and we're going to hold a public hearing and adopt the 2025 to 2029 County Capital Improvement Plan and authorize the issuance of a capital improvement bond associated with that. And so to lead us off, Ms. Cammie Iverson.
Good
Cammie,
morning,
welcome.
Commissioners. All right, Cammie Iverson. I am the Controller for the Physical Development Division, and I'll be going over a high-level overview of the capital improvement plan, and then we'll have you hold the public hearing, and we're going to ask you to adopt the CIP and the future issuance of bonds. So this is an annual thing that we do every year, so we changed it up a little bit this year. Let's see if I can make it go forward. All right. So this is an annual document that we refresh, and it's kind of talked about during the year, but we just wanted you to see how long this takes us to prepare. We do start this looking at this document in June. And then there are 2 or 3 times that we talk to the county board about this. So hopefully you guys feel like you have plenty of input on this and get plenty of discussion on it. So we just wanted you to see the whole process that it goes through. And again, we do this on an annual basis. The capital improvement plan is just a best practice that describes the capital investment that Olmsted County plans to make over a multi-year period. It's our basis from which our capital budgeting decisions are created. So the capital bidders or budget decision requests that you guys see every year are created from this document. More specifically, the CIP identifies future capital assets that we are considering. It lists the years of acquisition or construction that that it may start or conclude. We estimate costs, and then it includes a proposed method of financing for each of these projects. So when you all approved the 2025 budget back in December, you approved that first year, the 2025 portion of the CIP, but the 2026 to 2029 projects are really estimates. You haven't approved those projects, you've just said, yes, that's something we're considering, so that's just something to note. Over the 5 years, we have estimated to spend about $500 million on projects. And in 2025, that number is about $130 million. So large investments in our projects. This list is just some of the 2025 significant projects. You can see that some of them we started last year, so we've already approved some of those pieces of the budget, and then they'll have a 2025 portion, and then a couple of them we have more money or funding that we're going to need in the future. So just a list of these. And just to note that most of our projects in the CIP, or not most of them, many of them do span multiple years because they are large and they're construction-related projects. This is a list of significant projects in the 26 to 29 area of the CIP. And again, these are just our placeholders or are the estimates that the project managers think might happen in these years. So these are not approved, they're just potential. And this chart just shows you what areas those expenses occur in, so or what divisions. So transportation you can see is the largest with $265 million, and then the rest follow there. And this chart just shows where our funding sources are estimated to come from. Again, this is pretty fluid as new funding sources are found or grants are found, things like that. There is an unfunded portion in here of $33 million. It's really important to show in the CIP that we want to do projects, but maybe there's not funding for them. So we want to list them in the CIP to know that we want to do them and that we do have to find funding. And most of those are, a lot of them are in parks right now with our trails and our bridges that we're trying to figure out. And then we do put placeholders in there for any land acquisitions that may come up. Those are not funded right now, but we put them in there. The debt is funding about 33% of our total CIP, and lost in wheelage, we always like to point out, is funding 20% of this. So that's been a very, very large and important funding source for our transportation projects. The next 4 pages are just the 2025 portions of projects that we're asking for debt funding for. So this adds up to the $60 million that we'd like you to approve today. So that's just the next 4 pages. Commissioner Tyne asked for this last year, and it's a good slide, so we put it in here. So what does that mean if we're going to issue that $60 million in debt? We just use a 4% interest rate over 20 years just to keep it simple. So the 2025 ask that we're asking for is going to add about $5.2 million in annual debt service payments. So that's a number that we want you to be aware of. And the next page of that $5.2 million new annual debt service payments, $2.1 million of that is levy funded, and the $3.1 million of that is actually solid waste funded. So that will come from revenues from the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund. And then if we went ahead and did all the projects as is in the 26 to 29 CIP, it shows, the little chart in the bottom shows how much increase in annual debt service that we'd have. So again, 25, we're looking at 5.2 million in increased debt service. 26, it would be 3.2, and so on. And then we just, on the right side of that, we put what portion of that is levy funded. So now we'll open it up to questions or comments that anybody has. And I have a whole team, hopefully, that can answer specific.
Members, any questions of Ms. Iverson on the presentation or anything else? Yes, Commissioner.
Just want to clarify, to make sure that I heard you right. A lot of these things that a lot of these things are over a period of time, not all done right now. All right? Thank you.
Any questions? Members, any questions? Yes.
This
Mr.
might be,
Hopkins.
this might be a question based on my ignorance of the budget process, but can you define lost and wheelage?
Oh, yep. Local option sales tax is what LOST stands for, and that is, we receive 0.5% of all purchases in Olmsted County for that. So that's what that is. And then the wheelage is the $10 per vehicle that's on Olmsted County when you register your vehicles. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Significant revenue source for us. Yep.
Any other questions, members?
Mr. Chair, I do have a
Yes.
question.
Ms. Bedoggy Smith.
Ms. Iverson, do you mind going back a few slides to, anyone will do.
Yep.
Actually, a slide, that's a perfect example. Could you explain why the debt service amount appears to spike right after the current year and then gradually reduce, as opposed to including the most immediate years as a gradual reduction?
I believe 26 and 27, we have the MRF, the Materials Recycling Facility is included in there. And then also the Graham Commons. So that's something that's not approved yet, but it's in the CIP. So those are two very large projects. And that is why that spike happens in 26 and 27. I believe it's 29 that there's a large solid waste debt service that comes off the books at that time. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Ms. Iverson, could I just follow up on that? So this slide assumes the debt service on the projects within the document that we're talking about today.
Yep.
And that it would be presumed on another year, let's just say 2028, that there'll be another document, another set of projects. And so really this, as we look at it, debt service falling, it really probably doesn't because there's new projects coming along.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? I had one, and it sort of goes to our earlier meeting on the local option sales tax. And perhaps our finance officer, or maybe you can help with this one. The numbers on in the plan were like local option sales tax 20 million, 18 million, down in 2029 to 13 million. And I know the local option sales tax collection is not going to go from 20 million to 13 million. So is that money then that is not used in the plan escrowed for future use?
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, but basically we put the use of those taxes in the plan, but if we don't show the projects, but yes, we still collect it, so we're still gonna collect the 18 to 19 million, yes.
Okay.
And by the time we get to those future years, there's always
Sure.
projects that are there.
Anyone else? Questions? If not, this is a public hearing, and are there any members of the public, either here today or online, that want to comment on the capital improvement plan that's been proposed? Is there anyone else? And is there anyone else? And sensing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second?
Motion and second to close the public hearing. Sensing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 And opposed, nay, and that's not my nay. I also vote nay. So, discussion members, is there a motion to approve or otherwise amend the plan as presented?
Move to approve the Olmsted County Capital Improvement Plan.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the plan as presented. Is there a second? There's a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Sensing none, all in favor of approving the plan as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the plan is adopted. Thank you so much.
And then we
work
need
on
to
this.
authorize the issuance of the 2025 CIP
Okay.
bonds. And can I clarify one thing here? So We're authorizing 60 million today, but when we issue debt later in the fall, we're gonna come back and ask to issue 71 million. We already received the authority to do the 11 million in the 2024 ask. We just delayed some 2024 debt service until we're gonna include it with the 25 debt service. Some of the projects weren't started yet. We wanted better estimates, so we didn't wanna issue those bonds right away. So we're just asking for the 60 today, but when the numbers I showed all included the 11 or the 71 million, so.
If the motion wasn't clear, why don't we just clarify it
Yep.
with another motion to approve the debt service at the proposed $60 million? Would somebody offer that?
Yes, I move to approve the debt service at 60 million.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Second for that. Any discussion on that? Sensing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and the debt service as proposed is approved. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda, and I guess that we're supposed to read these. So the consent agenda consists of several items. I'll just go through it. Approving the December 17th, 2004 Olmsted County Board minutes, approving gambling permit for the Upper Root River Ducks Unlimited, approve the sale of the county-owned property, approve equal opportunity policy statement, approve the 2025 operating rules and guidelines of the Olmsted County Board of Commissioners. Next, approve the Southeast Adult Mental Health Initiative Compact and bylaws. Next, approve the 2025 purchase of service agreements. Next, approve the revised agreement with the Minnesota Department of Revenue for the collection of local transit sales and use tax, next, to designate the official publication for county projects. And lastly, to renew the Winona-Olmsted County Professional Services Agreement. Is there anybody who wants to pull any of those? Further discussion? Sensing none, is there a motion to approve them in a block? So
Move, second.
motion and second to approve the consent agenda in block. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and the consent agenda is approved. Are there any discussion items? Sensing none. Any informational items? Sensing none. Board and committee reports.
I have no report.
Commissioner Podolsky-Smith,
I
any
have
report?
no report.
No reports, no reports. Okay. I just want to make note, and with respect to Micah, there's and I think we maybe all got this, there's a legislative forum scheduled for January 30th in Prior Lake. I'll probably attend that. If anybody wants to ride along, that's fine. And also with respect to Micah, and I can't release a name, Micah has pending contract negotiations. I employed a new executive director. I can't give you his name because it hasn't been released yet, but it is a he, and he's a fine gentleman doing do a good job. So any other discussion for the good of the order? Sensing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second to adjourn, and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay, and we are adjourned.